Welcome to the Protect Your Assets Market Briefing. I'm David Hollander, your host. Now let's get started. So the first full week of 26 was eventful for markets with Venezuela, talks of Greenland. The December labor market report came out and the Supreme Court decision. We're still waiting to hear what happens with that on tariffs. Markets overall like this week. Dow was up 2.3%, S&P up 1.6%. NASDAQ up 1.9%. International index continues to move forward, almost 1% for the week. 10-year Treasury held flat at 417. Oil, well, oil's still under 60 at 58.82. What does Venezuela mean about oil? We're going to talk about it here in a second. And the bond market was up slightly at 0.3%. So overall, while these events certainly created headlines, it was a busy week. In our view, the outcomes could be limited when you talk about the economy or markets in the near term. So Venezuela, what are the implications from a market perspective? Well, Venezuela is a relatively small player. Its economy is less than 1% of global GDP, and it represents less than 1% of U.S. and global trade. The country does have about 17% of global oil reserves, but due to failing infrastructure, they deliver just about 1% of global production. So the broader implication to monitor as we move forward with what's going on is the precedent that this action could set globally, especially given that the U.S. plans to retain power in Venezuela until a transition of the government occurs. It's still early days, but this could be a longer tail risk to watch, particularly given economies like China and Russia contemplating their own steps. In addition, there may be implications to oil prices in the U.S. and energy companies because they're looking to rebuild Venezuelan oil infrastructure. While this could help the Venezuelan oil industry make things more positive down there, it takes time, it takes investment, and we're looking at possibly 10 years and upwards of $100 billion to turn that situation around. Keep in mind, oil prices are currently near a multi-year low, sitting at under $60 a barrel at 58.82. And oil markets globally continue to face oversupply issues. That's what's keeping the price down. So this shift that's going on to electric vehicles also doesn't happen, make it helpful. And, in China, they're doing a lot of that. A lot of new manufacturers coming on making cars, challenging Tesla's dominance. So over time, if additional Venezuelan oil supply creates more downward price pressure, oil companies could face operating at below break-even rates. And that's not favorable for shareholders, obviously. So in the near term, while oil prices could move marginally higher, given the political potential disruptions going on, obviously, across the world, the longer-term picture, well, I just don't think more supply is really going to help prices that much. Probably do the reverse, so just keep that in mind. What about the U.S. jobs? So we just had that. We had the December figure came out. Again, this was the first true, clear picture we had since the shutdown, and that wasn't looking so great. It came in at 50,000, below estimates of 70,000. So while we're seeing a slowdown in job growth in the U.S., the unemployment rate, well, it came in pretty steady at 4.4. And this information believes that the overall economy is still pretty good, doing pretty well. So the Fed likes that sort of information, and they're going to be cautious because it does look like the U.S. jobs market is cooling down a little bit. And this week on the 13th, we're going to get the inflation data coming out. And then the other one that we're waiting for right now is the Supreme Court decision as to whether the president had the authority to impose the tariffs as expansively as was done under the IEEPA, International Emergency Economic Powers Act. So overall, while it's been an eventful first full week of 26 from a geopolitical, economic, and policy perspective, I think the good news is that markets are focused on key drivers. U.S. earnings growth, it's been revised higher to about 14.7% year over year. And if we get lower inflation, economic growth continues to deliver. According to the Atlanta Fed GDP Now model, they're saying 5.1% above the trend of 2%. And so the S&P 500, as I just said, it's up about 1.9% so far this year. Don't forget, you want to speak with your financial advisor who can help you navigate economic, geopolitical, and policy shifts and help ensure your portfolio remains on track to achieve your personal financial goals, particularly if you're looking at retiring this year.
You can hear the Protect Your Assets Market Briefing on your favorite podcast app. Just search for Protect Your Assets Market Briefing. Links to subscribe free wherever you listen are at libertygroupllc.com/PYA Market, libertygroupllc.com/PYA Briefing, libertygroupllc.com/PYA Market Brief. Investment advisory services are offered through Liberty Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon as a basis for investment decisions. The strategies mentioned are not suitable for everyone. The information expressed does not consider your specific situation or objectives and may not be appropriate for all investors. Past performance is not indicative of future results. To better understand the risk associated with investing and how it reacts to different market conditions, listeners should always consult with their qualified investment professionals, financial advisors, legal or tax specialists, and conduct their due diligence before making any financial decisions or taking any action. The legal information provided on the air is not intended to substitute for callers hiring their lawyers to advise them about personal legal matters. Investments involve risk and, unless otherwise stated, are not guaranteed. Liberty Group LLC paid for the following program, and the host's views and opinions do not represent those of the station or its ownership. California Life Agent number 048569. Persons engaging the services of one affiliate of Liberty Group LLC companies should be aware that each company is operated separately. You're listening to the Protect Your Assets Radio Network.